Wow, it's been a while, but I am back, and you guys are lucky because right now you're watching the first ever Hinchcast that's being recorded in front of a live studio audience. I know, thank you very much. Very exciting times. Now, I've been a little bit dormant on the whole website side. I've been doing a lot of paperwork as the mayor of Hinchtown. It's not giving me a lot of time to update the site. That's all done and over with. We're now going to be back to some regular fun stuff here. And right off the bat, a lot of people have been asking me, I get emails, text messages, Facebook things, saying, hey Hinch, man, tell us what you think about the reunimergification of Open Wheel. And, I had to kind of step back at first, because when it first happened, I was a little upset. And if I had gone on record then, I probably would have said some things that I may have regretted later in life. So I figured I'd just sit back, stay calm, wait till everything actually did unfold, see how it all kind of shook out, and then go for it. Now that we've had our first race, I think it's now safe for me to come out and kind of say my opinion on things. There's definitely some good things, and definitely some bad things that have happened. Start with something good. Finally, there is peace. After nearly a decade of trying to get it together, the powers that be finally pulled it off. Yes, all right, that's what I'm talking about. Definitely exciting stuff. Some bad news, the timing. I know, it's brutal. Happening in February caused a lot of drama and a lot of undue stress and a lot of sleepless nights for certain people, including, but not limited to, drivers, engineers, mechanics, team owners, track promoters, race promoters, sponsors, all sorts of people. It was just really, really bad timing. I think they could have handled it differently, but hey, nobody asked me. Some more good news though. We have some of the rivalries that people have just been begging and dying to see. We've got Rahal versus Andretti. You've got Wilson versus Weldon. Briscoe versus Power. Serbia versus Castroneves. This is going to be a good season of wheel-to-wheel racing. Seeing these guys, I know you're excited. You. This is what we finally wanted to see, having all the drivers, all the teams, all the sponsors under one roof. Nothing but good news. But again, to the bad side, losing venues. Tragic to lose places like Road America, Toronto, Laguna Seca. It just breaks my heart to see that kind of happen as collateral damage. But hey, I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But, hey, the prospect of this year's Indy 500 being the greatest spectacle in racing. This is awkward. Okay, I've definitely been an very open critic of the Indy 500 in the past, and this is definitely a step towards making it what it once was. However, I do not think this year's Indy 500 is going to be anything special. If they try and big up the winner of this year's race as the first guy to win after reunimergification, it's really pointless, because after seeing the first race in Homestead, come on guys, the drivers that are transitioning, horrible term, from Champ Car, they're wasted talent. It was so obvious that their equipment is so brutally inferior to that of the existing IRL teams. They're going to be also-rans, and it's really not an indicator of how good they are and how good this race can be and will be again once those teams are up to speed, maybe once the new car comes out in 2010, 2011. So I'm not sold on this year's race at all. The only good thing that might come of this whole thing is that Tony George won't have to go to such ridiculous lengths to fill the field and make sure that we've got a grid of 33 cars. I mean, sorry, dude. Alonso Jr., I'll respect you for everything you ever accomplished by the middle of a race car, but you don't belong in the Indy 500 anymore. I'm sorry. And with that, we move on to the Atlantic Championship. That's what I'll be running this year, and I mean, there's still a lot of question marks out there because they've not released a lot of information out to the media and to the public yet. But let me assure you, this championship's going to go on, and it's going to be pretty damn good, I think. We got a pretty good schedule coming up. It's not finalized yet. There's one thing we're kind of waiting on, but everything that's been confirmed is really cool. We're going to some new tracks, some really nice tracks. It'll be really fun in this car. And I think with the level of talent that we're still seeing in this grid, I mean, it's been really cool to see how many drivers have stuck by Atlantic and and everybody involved with Mazda and Cooper Tires trying to make this thing still happen. So I'm looking forward to it. Running with Forsyth, teammate to David Garza. It's going to be a fun year, and hopefully it's going to be a fast year too. So that's all we got going on this end. And now to close things off, due to popular request, we're going to have a really short clip. This is actually a pre-recorded phone conversation from here in the studio with Kimi Räikkönen, winner of the Malaysian Grand Prix. This has been pretty in demand, so it's been a year since we spoke to Kimi. So let's roll the Kimi clip from earlier. Hey Kimi, are you there?
Yes, Hinch, I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. That's great. Good to hear from you. Thanks for being on the show again. Now, Kimi, let's start, right off the bat. Melbourne, not a great start to the season for you, but you rebounded a big way in Malaysia, taking a very dominant win. Now, let's start right from the beginning of the race. You got a great launch off the line, heading into the first corner, really challenging your teammate there, but it got close. Was there any chance of contact there? Was it a bit hairy, or was it pretty clean from where you were sitting?
Yes, it's okay. The first corner was obviously that was very difficult. Starting on the dirty side of the track, I had to get a good start and was able to get up alongside Felipe. But it is just the first corner of the race, so I figured to not take too big risk. From there, it is very difficult to follow cars, especially around this track. So we decided to kind of stay back and wait till the first pit stop, and I was able to overtake him then. And I don't know what happened to him. He spun or something, and from that, it was quite easy for us. We just had to control the car, control the pace, and turn down the engine a bit, and it was good for now.
Very good. Now, coming in as the reigning world champion, do you think that takes a little bit of the pressure off of you, or are you still just as driven and just as committed as you were last year and the year before and the year before that?
No, I think that for me it's good to have won the World Championship the first time out for Ferrari. It's a good team, and now we've got this season back on track to do the same thing. It's something to win the championship is very good, but I don't think it does make me any less motivated to drive the car fast. That is just what I do. So I think this year obviously did not necessarily start the best, but having said that, last year I won the championship by only 1 point, and so in Australia to still get 1 point at the end of the year, it could mean a difference between being two-time world champion or just the one time.
That's a good point, actually, about that 1 point from Melbourne. I guess a lot of people might not have think about that. They might write that race off as a disaster, but there you go. That 1 point could make the difference. Well, Kimi, you're now heading to a race in Bahrain. How do you see that weekend going for you?
Yeah, okay. I don't like the track as much as Malaysia, but I think that obviously the car is going to be very good there. We did several days testing and it went well. We were very quick, so I can concentrate immediately on going fast. I think we have to set up to go well there, but on us, McLaren's obviously also very quick, so we'll see when we get there.
So, Kimi, you've been in F1 for 6 years now. Tell me, what is your favorite part of the season as a driver? Obviously, it's a very, very hectic season, very busy. What point in the season do you enjoy the most? Is it the beginning? Is it the really heavy schedule in the middle? Maybe a little bit more relaxed at the end, or the added pressure of the end of the season? Which do you enjoy the most?
Well, for me, two part is favorite for me. The first obviously is the break in August. We get 3 weeks off with no testing and no racing, so I can go on vacation. And then for me it is the end of the season, because the pressure is off, and then I can go back to drinking also vodka.
Can't say I'm all that surprised by that. Ladies and gentlemen, Kimi Räikkönen. Thanks, Kimi, for being on the show, and thank you guys for tuning into this Hinchcast. Make sure you stay up to date with Hinchtown.com's new developments. We've got some pretty exciting stuff coming on the site, so make sure you visit often and keep in touch with what's happening on Hinchtown.